Salut, c'est Géraldine, bienvenue sur Comme une Française TV, sound French even to the French. Reading newspapers and online journalism is a fantastic way to learn the French language. However, you will quickly find clichés, also called in French un poncif or un lieu commun, un lieu commun. Le cliché is an expression that crops up too regularly in journalism. Often le cliché is supposed to be fresh and witty, but it's so overused that it loses all meaning and originality. Today, I will show you some examples for this French word. Let's dive in. La balle est dans son camp. La balle est dans son camp. Our first cliché is a sports metaphor. It literally means the ball is in his court. For a tennis player, it means it's his turn to play. He needs to react. People are waiting to see what he is going to do. Les syndicats ont donné leur proposition à la ministre. Maintenant, la balle est dans son camp. Les syndicats ont donné leur proposition à la ministre. Maintenant, la balle est dans son camp. The unions have given their proposition to the minister. Now the ball is in her court. The idiom is commonly used during negotiations between political parties, for instance, or even states. It's part of the game of blame and responsibility. Another sentence with a similar meaning could be à lui de jouer, à lui de jouer, or c'est à lui de jouer, c'est à lui de jouer. It means it's his turn to play. Maybe it's after he's been épinglé, or literally pinned. Another cliché meaning blamed for something he's recently been part of. After un dérapage, for instance, un dérapage, yet another poncif, literally skidding, meaning he said something he shouldn't have said, as if he was out of control. Un silence assourdissant. Un silence assourdissant. A deafening silence. When someone should talk about subject but doesn't, and the silence itself is meaningful or is supposed to be meaningful, it's also a good way to blame someone for something, even if you're not sure exactly why. It can be used for every important issue. For example, la réponse de l'Europe au problème des saucisses mal cuites est un silence assourdissant. La réponse de l'Europe au problème des saucisses mal cuites est un silence assourdissant. Europe's response to the problem of undercooked sausage is a deafening silence. Or, chaque jour en France, 12 personnes mangent une saucisse mal cuite dans un silence assourdissant des médias et du gouvernement. Chaque jour en France, 12 personnes mangent une saucisse mal cuite dans un silence assourdissant des médias et du gouvernement. Every day in France, 12 people eat an undercooked sausage in the deafening silence of the media and the government. You have to admit that this cliché is pretty poetic. Back it was used for the first time in 1956 by French writer, poet and politician Albert Camus. Albert Camus. Camus uses a figure of speech called un oxymore. Un oxymoron in English. The French language's most famous oxymoron comes from le Cid de Pierre Corneille. Cette obscure clarté qui tombe des étoiles. Cette obscure clarté qui tombe des étoiles. The dark light cast from every distant star. I've already talked about Le Cid in the video about the classics of French theater, and you can find the link to the video on the blog below the video. Un silence assourdissant can be the answer to someone throwing un pavé dans la mare. Un pavé dans la mare. A cliché meaning a brick in the pond. When something has just started a stir that will splash on everyone involved. That's un pavé dans la mare. Les heures les plus sombres de notre histoire. Les heures les plus sombres de notre histoire, the darkest hours of our history, have nothing to see with the complete solar eclipse of 1999 in France. No, it's a reference to a further past, l'occupation, when the French state was under German rule and French with a Nazi government. Some French people formed la résistance, but the political power became a racist police state. That's not something we are particularly proud of, and that's why it's les heures les plus sombres de notre histoire, the darkest hours, les heures les plus sombres. However, people are afraid that we might fall back into these hours under a new name, so they're quick to point out a policy or methods that remind them of le régime de Vichy. Le régime de Vichy. It's also an easy way to discredit your opponent or to frame a discussion so that you appear as the hero in front of the ugly Nazi collaborateur. And that's how it became in itself a cliché. Tous ces policiers qui tapent sur les manifestants, ça rappelle des heures sombres. Tous ces policiers qui tapent sur des manifestants, ça rappelle des heures sombres. All these policemen beating the protesters, it reminds me of the dark hours. Affaire de corruption. Le député suspecté par les enquêteurs évoque les heures les plus sombres de notre histoire. Affaire de corruption. Le député suspecté par les enquêteurs évoque les heures les plus sombres de notre histoire. Corruption cases. Suspected MP refers to the darkest hours of our history. It's still widely used with a straight face, but half the time people use it ironically. So the fact that it's a cliché may actually be a cliché itself. On the same level, there is le bruit des bottes. Le bruit des bottes, the sound of boots, and maybe some clothes of color brun or brune as an implied reference to the uniforms and leather boots of the fascism coming to take our freedom and life. Caracoler en tête. Caracoler en tête, or literally prancing ahead. Polls come every few weeks, especially at election times. It's a recurring topic like Christmas shopping or children going back to school in September. Such a topic is called un marronnier. Un marronnier, literally a chestnut tree. They're useful. You can write a template for them and use it every year to pad your newspaper. When it comes to polls, one of the propositions can be leading from far ahead. For example, la meneuse du nouveau parti Bonbons et Chocolat caracole en tête des sondages pour la présidentielle. La meneuse du nouveau parti Bonbons et Chocolat caracole en tête des sondages pour la présidentielle. The leader of the new political party, Sweets and Chocolates, is leading the poll for the presidential election. Caracoler is a nice sounding verb. It sounds like cocorico. Cocorico, our national animal's cry, and no one really knows what it means. It's originally a horse trick, but nowadays it's only used in this cliché. When someone looks to be on the right path to success, especially in a competition, then elle a le vent en poupe. Elle a le vent en poupe. She has the wind in her sails. And if she's also advocating for sweets and chocolates for all, then you can add yet another cliché. It's the icing on the cake. C'est la cerise sur le gâteau. C'est la cerise sur le gâteau. Le pays des bisounours. Le pays des bisounours, the land of Care Bears. In France, Care Bears are called les bisounours. Les bisounours. It's a mashup of un bisou, a kiss, and un ours, a bear. Or un nounours, a teddy bear, un nounours. In French-speaking Quebec, in Canada, they're called calinours. Calinours instead, using un câlin, a hug. They were famous in the 80s, but they have mostly disappeared since. It's also a useful reference for some. It's only used in the negative, although. On n'est pas au pays des bisounours. On n'est pas au pays des bisounours. Literally, we're not in the land of Care Bears. Use it when your opponent suggests a new idea or doing something from compassion, and voila, he's automatically disqualified for being too naive and thinking reality is a children's cartoon. For example, je pense que ce serait bien de loger les gens qui n'ont pas de maison. Oh, on n'est pas au pays des bisounours. Je pense que ce serait bien de loger les gens qui n'ont pas de maison. Oh, on n'est pas au pays des bisounours. I think it would be a good thing to give a roof to those who don't have one. Oh, we don't live in the Care Bear land. With this magic cliché, you get to frame yourself as the realistic one, whose healthy dose of cynicism prevents you from ever failing anything. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. Don't you dare have faith in mankind or in the future. Well, you won't try anything new either, and you won't allow yourself to follow your dreams, but at least you can feel superior. Isn't it great? So I don't really like this cliché, but if you feel like you need it for one reason or another, you can update references. For example, Le Pays des Teletubbies, maybe? Or if you want to stay in France, all across the country, we have another cliché, aux quatre coins de l'Hexagone. Aux quatre coins de l'Hexagone, which is a cliché that used to be witty since we translate it in every corner with aux quatre coins, literally in all four corners. And in France, sometimes, we call our own country l'Hexagone, the hexagon, the shape with 6 corners, so it's weird. Et toi, where have you read these clichés? Do you notice others that crop up regularly? Which cliché in your own language do you especially dislike? Why? Tell me. Share your experience in French if you dare in the comments below the video. We can all learn from your story. The comment section is the best place to start discussions and ask me questions. So please comment if you like this video or if you have something you want me to talk about. I will read all the comments. If you like this video, share it with your friends, please, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, by email, any way you like. Help me spread the word about Comme Française with your friends. Merci. Love French, dream of sounding French even to the French, and that's not easy. Learn how with me, Géraldine, on commeunefrançaise.com, and subscribe, please, to my email updates for exclusive tips on real life in France every Tuesday, plus an exclusive video lesson, Introduce Yourself in French. It's free. Merci for watching Comme une Française TV, sound French even to the French. Allez, salut!